noted that you don't believe is right from the evidence you have in hand, all you have to do is email me, and I take care of this. But we don't do audits, so we don't sit down with you line by line to do it. You can do it, but the RO is the only place at York that is obliged to do that for you and has the final say on it, modulo interventions by people like myself. Okay? Which part is the judge part? Well, the judge part has to do with prerequisites, and I'd like to take you again to degree regulations, so maybe we can understand what I have in mind here. Let's take, for example, computer security. Look how nicely this is laid out in increasing sequence according to the first digit of the course. But this is not necessarily the sequence you take the courses. You take the courses in a sequence that is predicated by the prerequisite structure. So, for example, you cannot say, oh, gee, this year I'd like to do 2011 and 3101. You cannot do 2011 unless you finished already 1030 with a C+ or better and 1019. And you cannot do 3101 at the same time as 2011. Who says? Well, the prerequisites. So if we go back, where do I learn about prerequisites? You just click at the current year calendar. So while for degree requirements, you look at the calendar and checklists for the year that corresponds to you, for prerequisites, you always see the current year, because prerequisites are not dependent on when you joined York or when you did your first course. Prerequisites are in effect as soon as they change. For that reason, for prerequisites, you only read the current calendar. So what I click here is the current calendar up here. Okay? So anytime you want to look at prerequisites, you look at the most recent version of the calendar. This is the 2014 version, and that's the most recent version. Now, so if you want to know, for example, let's pick an arbitrary course at the third year level. What the heck, why not? Computer science, where am I here? Computer science 3000, okay? You look at it, and then it has a cryptic phrase at the bottom, general prerequisites. Aha, so those are my prerequisites. But pay attention to definitions. If you haven't read the calendar carefully, you'd say, oh, general prerequisites means general. Anybody can walk in. It's like general admission in a movie theater. Well, that's not what we mean. General prerequisites is a technical term. And on this very same page, it is defined at the very top. So general prerequisites for 3000 level courses have two components. One is a GPA requirement, which is 4.5 or better, over what? Over everything? No. Over all major computer science courses completed so far. That's number one. And number two, you must have done 2011. So that's how you familiarize yourselves with the prerequisites. One, know your terms. What does general prerequisites mean? Two, look at the course you're interested in. 3000, just general prerequisites. So it is just these two things. This line and this line, those two bullets at the top. But if you look further down, and you look at something more hairy in terms of prerequisites, 3101 is a good example. You will see that not only it has, where is it? Here, this line. Not only has general prerequisites, but it requires to have Math 1090 already completed. Completed means passed, right? So we don't have any misunderstanding. It doesn't mean you paid fees, you stayed in the course to the bitter end, but you failed it. Completed means passed, right? What else? Math 1310. Just 1310, calculus 2, so calculus 1 is not needed. No, it is just really an economy of effort here when we write the prerequisites. You cannot be in calculus 2 unless you have done calculus 1. So it's really both calculus 1 and calculus 2 that's needed here, and math 1090. How about computer science courses? Well, general prerequisites implies 2011, okay, so you must have that. Okay. So just to give you an example of prerequisites. So back to our checklists. They're nice and slick and well ordered, but don't assume that that's the order with which you take them. And by the way, I said we are both judges and lawyers. So the judge's part comes when we look at prerequisites. When we look at prerequisites, we absolutely insist you have them. If you don't have them, we have to de-enroll you, and indeed we do. We check prerequisites once each beginning of term. So at the beginning of summer, beginning of fall, beginning of winter, we will check prerequisites. Why not let somebody just go in there and do it at their own risk? For the same reason that the laws of the city or the country do not allow you to go about without seatbelts. Going into a course without the prerequisites is like going to drive without a seatbelt, and as it is illegal to drive without a seatbelt, in the same way it is illegal to drive a course, to take a course without the prerequisites. So we absolutely insist that you don't do that. What else did I want to tell you about? Well, at this point, I think I would like to tell you about some exciting things we do in the department. In a very fleeting way, I went through there, but I'm going to return to that if I can manage. This is not it. This is not it. I'll tell you what. The cards way there. Go there. Get rid of that, and then, pardon me, current students, you're undergraduate, perfect, perfect. So let's look at this guy. So this is an example of exciting things we do. This is a specialized honors dual degree, and it's part of our internationalization agenda and internationalization efforts in this department. And what a dual degree is the following. You do your degree at York, but you do it in such a manner that in year 3, you're asked to go and do the courses you would do otherwise here at York, to do them abroad, in particular, to share them between 2 universities in Europe, one in Germany, one in Greece. When you are done with these courses, which are approximately 30 credits, a bit more than 30 credits, plus a thesis, then you come back to finish your 4th year. So I got into a degree program at York. I did the 3rd year abroad, came back, finished, I got a degree at York. So what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is you studied abroad, and here comes the little secret, an additional little secret. Studying abroad, by the way, is important for your CV. Many employers value tremendously global international experience of a prospective employee. But you see, in a dual program, not only you get the degree at York, but you're also going to get a degree from BRSU, the German university that participates in this program. Because the way they handle transfer credits, they're quite liberal, so just doing 30 credits with them is enough to give you the degree, right? So you get a degree from them, a bachelor, 90 credit degree, and you get a degree from York, specialized honors degree. By the way, they're not more generous than York. York also, for those that like to study, quote, legislation, unquote, also allows a very generous amount of transfer credit. So a student, in principle, can come from another university with 90 credits completed there, have them granted as transfer credits, and then do 30 credits here and finish. Okay? I say in principle because there is a bit of a small print, but there always is small print, and that's why you have lawyers like us. And the small print is this. Yes, those 30 credits you do at York must also contain at least a minimum of half the credits required by the major, okay? And if you don't have the prerequisites, you might end up doing much more than 30 credits. But in principle, York also allows you to get away with a degree doing just 30 credits as long as you brought with you from somewhere else 90 credits. So that's important to know. What else do we do in internationalization? We have 2 degrees that are international degrees. And I'm going to go back here and try to find them. They are the IBA and IBSc. They are drastically different than the dual degree in one respect. You get only a degree from York. On the other hand, there is a requirement again to go abroad and study for a minimum stay abroad. The minimum stay here is much smaller. You don't have to go there and do 33 something credits for a whole year and the thesis on top of that. All you're required to do is to spend a minimum of 1 term abroad, right? Either fall or winter, a minimum. You could go for 2. But the minimum required is 1, and the minimum number of credits required is 9. So you can get away with 9 credits. And there is a language and culture requirement of 30 credits in the both IBA and IBSC. By the way, the I stands for international. International BA, international BSc. How many here are in IBA or IBSc? Good work. So those 30 credits of language and culture are mandatory to get that degree. So it gives you, again, quite a good exposure to matters international, and that, again, is a big push when you look for a job. But remember, the dual degree is one step ahead of this because it gives you 2 degrees for essentially the effort of 1 degree, because pretty much your studies end at the end of 4 years, which is what you would spend anyway to get 1 degree here at York. And we're doing something else, which is really the thing to break the ice or wet your feet. People like to start slow sometimes, and we have short international visits abroad to our partners in Germany, Greece, and Poland. And you can do an intensive 3-week course and spend approximately a month total. You can do an intensive 3-week course which is worth 3 or 4 credits depending on the course. So if it fits in 3 weeks, you can do it. There are a lot of courses that can so be compressed. Indeed, York has compressed terms, and what we do is we piggyback on one of those. If you have been looking at summer offerings, there is a term called T2, term T2, letter D as in David, 2. And that term, indeed, is a term that you fit a course, you compress a course, a 3-credit course or 4-credit course in just 3 weeks. How do you do that? Well, you do 12 hours of lectures every week for 3 weeks, and that's how you do that. So it's very, very intensive. Can I do any course like this? Well, no. If a course has a huge project and requires a lot of lab work, probably you cannot do it. But there are a lot of courses that can be done, and those are the ones we mount in those international programs. Until now, we have been able to fund students who go to those summer schools, fund to the tune of approximately 2/3 of their reasonable expenses. By reasonable expenses, I mean expenses that we predict they would reasonably have. It is not that you write an expense report of $10,000 and we give you 2/3 of that, or $1 million and we give you 2/3 of that. But we project what is a reasonable expense. A big chunk is, of course, the airfare. Some chunk is the accommodation, food, transportation locally, etc. We get a reasonable sum of money, and we give them approximately 2/3 of that, which is a really good deal, if you ask me. And I'm sorry that 3 very enthusiastic individuals that went last summer are not here because of other commitments. Oh, they are here. Tony, do you want to say a few words to the class? I'll give you the microphone. Just don't hold them too long. I know you're very enthusiastic, but I have a few more things to tell them. Not much. Tony was one of the people that went to Crete this summer, and he did a course on human-computer interface with one of the best researchers in Greece in that subject, and he will tell you more about it.
Hello. Sure. Well, I didn't really prepare for this presentation, but yeah, I'm Tony. I'm a 3rd-year computer engineering student. I was one of the students in Greece this summer. I was also in Israel for the Lausanne Technion Entrepreneurship program right after that. But all in all, it was an amazing experience because it was my first time out of North America. It was only one course, so it was actually not too intensive. I had a lot of free time to explore, meet the locals, just learn a new culture, and I did pick up on some Greek as well. And the main advantage of doing it in Greece versus taking the course here at York was that I was able to see the top-notch research that was going on in Greece, and that was directly related to the course I was taking. And that made the learning experience much better, especially in terms of just sitting in class and just listening to a professor. I don't want to take up too much of your time talking about my vacation, so oh yeah, the food is amazing there. Nothing in Toronto compares to actual food from Greece, not even Greektown. I went there after I came back from Greece because I missed the food, and then it was like very disappointing. But yeah, I really recommend going on these abroad programs that Lassonde offers. They just teach you, give you a worldly perspective of things, learning about other cultures. The way I see it is that you're born in Canada, raised in Canada, you only get a certain perspective of different things, and if you're going to be like an engineer or a computer scientist, I think a worldly perspective is very important. And that's all I had to say. Just take advantage of these things. I look forward to the next trip that I might go to, hopefully Germany. And yeah.
Longer. I think that next I want to go back to the main page of the department and show you some things that are probably interesting. First of all, at the very top where the cursor is, you can see the cursor there? Yes. At the very top we have the recent news area, and there we tell you things of current interest, like normal progress form results for fall 2014. Now, normal progress is a code term that we devised long before I joined the department well, then it was called computer science, then it became computer science and engineering, and as you know, now it's electrical engineering and computer science. But I joined the department in 1999. There was a merger. York is good at mergers. And I moved over here, and I found this terminology that was rather cute because it is honest. It means what it says. It means an undertaking of the department to enable major students to progress normally, as long as, of course, they don't have their own slippages, like failing a course or two or whatever the situation might be. But if you're progressing according to expectations, we don't want you to be stuck because a course has no space or a course is not available. So the normal progress exercise is really a waiting list exercise, but we thought that calling it waiting list is not to the point as much as calling it normal progress is. So normal progress indicates that this waiting list, what it tries to do is an instrument of ensuring that majors progress normally. Okay, of course we cannot make hurricanes go away or snowstorms, but if academically you are in good standing, we are not going to let unavailability of space get in your way. That's what it is all about. So this just concluded. When did it conclude? September 18, and this is the area where such news come. In this area we also put other news, such as deferred examinations. So that was there and it's gone, so we try to clean it up after the event has been cleared. Deferred examinations, you all know what it is. You missed an exam, final exam, with good cause. But usually the good cause is either religious accommodation or illness. You have the documentation, you are granted to write the exam at a different time. So we don't spread those different times all over the place. We organize another exam for all those people that hold a deferred agreement, as we call it. In other words, they hold an agreement with an instructor to write the exam at another time. So the department chooses a time very close to the beginning of the next term. So you miss the exam in December, you write in January. You miss the exam in April, you write at the beginning of the summer term in May, and so on and so forth. So this is another type of important news that we put there. And any other ad hoc news, for example, last summer we had the students that went to Crete. We had a news item that was tracking the deadline to apply for it, and we had news updates. Lecture schedules, you find them here. Do you need a lecture schedule duplication? Yes, you do, because sometimes we make some last-minute changes, so we show them before the registrar's office shows it in the main site. So for lecture schedules, you can see them under this heading. And for example, if you click winter, you see what's available in the winter. We like to maintain some history. Well, all the history is available internally in the department, but visually we maintain a bit of history, brief history, so it goes back to 2012 or so. So you can compare what was available. Sometimes you want to plan, oh, what did they offer in summer 12? What did they offer in summer 13? And you can extrapolate, and we can extrapolate what perhaps we should be doing in summer 14, and so on and so forth, okay? So I think I'll pretty much stop almost here. Okay, my notes tell me otherwise. There's one more thing I wanted to show you, and that is the FAQs. Those are very important. They have a rather weird date, and that is because we have not added new items to the FAQ since then. But everything that we put there is important, and most of the things we put there is valid. The very first thing is about program requirements, what requirements you follow. The little joke I made about the requirements choose you, it's all there. This has not changed, so there's no point to change the date for that. And a lot of other things, including whether you can count Math 2320 as a prerequisite or as a requirement, and the FAQ says no, you cannot do that after 2013, after 2003. And now definitely I will stop. I will invite my associates if they have any comments to make. Do you have a question? Okay, TIP. TIP is the tip of the iceberg. No, that was my joke. TIP is Technology Internship Program. It is what many people might call it co-op, but co-op normally is associated with some specific interweaving of absence to the job versus class time, which is rather periodic, whereas the TIP, the TIP, is something you normally do at the end of year 3. So between year 3 and year 4, you can apply if your standing is such that you have a 6 GPA or higher in computer science courses and a 6 GPA or higher in mathematics courses. It's an and, not an or. You can apply through the Career Center to be placed with some of our partners, such as IBM, a major bank, even Research in Motion, or whatever they call themselves these days. They're still struggling, and they're up there. And interestingly, they're among the better employers. And a lot of our students, especially those that are in computer security, seem to be thriving in that particular environment. So you can choose to be with one of our partners, and you can have either as short as a 4-month internship, it's a paid internship, or longer, 8 months, or longer, 12 months, or a maximum of 16 months. So it's between a minimum of 4 months and 16 months maximum that you can have a paid internship which is amazingly good for you. It is not a requirement, but those that want to do it is available for you. So it's kind of a co-op, but it's concentrated between year 3 and year 4, unlike the co-op. And it has also a benefit which goes beyond what co-op has. By the time you are ready for the internship, you already are almost a seasoned computer science apprentice. I would almost say computer scientist. Well, after all, at the end of year 3, many of you would be ready to graduate with a bachelor degree, 90 credit degree, right? So you know quite a bit to be effective in an environment like those that I described, major bank or IBM or similar. Whereas in a co-op, if you start in year 1 or in year 2, you'll be still a novice. So you wouldn't get perhaps as good a job as you would get in our table. So yes, we have that, and thank you, Zarifa, for reminding me. Yeah. I think I'm done. Questions? Yes. For which language course? For the IBSC, it is a bit of a wishy-washy one, because it cannot make up its mind and says it is up to you to either do 12 credits or you could do 18 credits. There's some history for this wishy-washiness, but that's not going to be interesting for me to tell. But it gives you those two options. So if you do 12 credits language, then you will do 18 culture. If you do 18 language, then you do 12 culture. Whereas the IBA is fixed. They favor the language part. For the IBA, you have to do 18 language, 18 culture, so there is one size for all for the IBA. But the IBSC gives you that flexibility. Yes?
What's the general education for the Bachelor of Science?
Sorry, what?
The general education checklist for Bachelor of Science.
For Bachelor of Science, the general education, it is complicated. But let me try to uncomplicate it. If you insist to call it general education, it will sound very complicated. But let's try something else. Let's try something else. Let's look directly at the honors degree. Okay? So you look at the honors degree, the PSC, and as we come down here, you see a line that says non-science credits, and in brackets Gen Ed. Strictly speaking, in the new jargon, these are just non-science credits, but that's what we used to call general education. And these are pretty much almost any science, any non-science credit you can imagine. Humanities, social science, music, English, history. So, but technically, the general education in BSc also includes your lab courses, but they're already included, so you don't have to call them general education. And it includes, you notice this right here, 6 additional credits in science outside your major, including at least 3 credits in 2000 level. So this is part of the new general education. But if you're going to compare apples and apples, comparing general education of science with the BA, the Bachelor of Arts, then what you should be looking at is at the non-science credits. And the non-science credits is really what we call general education until the end of 2012. And I still, in the checklist, I have retained this subtitle. So don't worry about general education. Read our checklist and you'll know exactly what you will do. Yes?
So is this e-commerce of the
Sorry, what?
Is this e-commerce of the advanced of the credit is a general education?
E-commerce, you said?
E-commerce of the advanced
Economics. Yes, for the BSc Economics, Economics is general education. Yes. There is a place where you can find the entire list of these non-science credits, which I'm not sure I'll manage to find. On the other hand, it's Arbor. And having some time, let me attempt it. Would you allow me, Rick, to attempt to find that? Okay. So we go again to the York University website, and we'll go to current students. So I'm going to navigate to find the main calendar. So find the main calendar, academic calendars, 2014, 15. Computer science is a good start. Rules and regulations. So you don't click the first, you click the second. Rules and regulations in lesson, and then click the last one. I know it's tiring. So once you've done all this, somewhere towards the bottom of the page, here we are. Requirements for BSc, Honors, BSc, BSc Tech, IBSc. Okay? And you'll see anthropology is good, classical studies, some courses, not all of the courses, that's what the asterisk means, is good. Economics, now all is good. It used to be just 1,000 and 1010. But now all is good, no asterisk. English, all is good. French studies, it is not all good. The reason for French studies not being all good is because language courses in general, just training you in language, language in general is not considered to be, quote, genet, unquote, okay? Geography also has some exceptions. History, all of it, and so on and so forth. But now you know where to find it, if you followed by clicks.
No music now? No music? You can't think.
Music, yes. Music. Where's music? There might be some exceptions. Scroll down. There you are. So there are exceptions. How do I know? Because music has a very rich program, but only a few are listed. 1500, 1510, 1520, 1530, 1540, and 50. So if you want to take music, make sure that's what you take if your aim is not just pleasure, but to meet genetic requirements. For the BA, music doesn't count. For the BA, the recipe is much simpler. Humanities, social science, natural science are the must-have. Now, if you have room to do more, then they allow you modes of reasoning. So that's much more prescriptive. Whereas the BSc, as we see, is very, very liberal. There's a huge list of things to do. Any other question? Can you hear me? Any other question? You can hear me. Why are they using this?
Is there a co-op program available for computer science students?
Well, the technology internship is what we term loosely co-op, and it's available for computer science, computer engineering, computer security students.
Other than that, no?
Well, the real co-op is now under discussion for computer science. The real co-op is available for all engineering students. And the computer science department is discussing, it's now a curriculum committee to discuss how to get in with ourselves as well. But that has not been concluded yet, discussion.
Okay.
But the technology internship program, we were among the very first clients. Indeed, I may say that we started pretty much from our basement, well, not the basement, but the career office was in the department, but when it grew, we felt that we couldn't handle it, so we outsourced it. And now we have one of many clients. The typical requirement is everything else being the same. You need to have chemistry or physics, grade 12 from high school. If not, you have to take a very important course. If you can, so if you complete that, the absence of high school credentials, that is needed. It is quite close to what we will, yes. I mean, only for people, right? I have no idea what the decision will be. But if you ask me to give me my educated guess, yes. That's my educated guess. Of course, rating also the sheriff department, right? This is not a different, that's my educated guess. Yes.
Let's say for the core of the science and not very clear what this is small.
I can tell you clearly. I know that you're talking about it all, but I'm not sure I can put the words together.
Well, compare on the microphone because it's difficult for let's say clear.
Oh, I see. That's what you said. Okay. So it is problem with both ways. You're not here. Okay. Now you can hear me. So I said that my educated guess, the answer to this gentleman was my educated guess, which means it's only a guess, is that we will have co-op for computer science sometime in the future. It is currently under discussion. That was my answer. Yes.
But the co-op and computer science, they don't
The co-op will be for BA and BSc, if it's there. The internship is for both. There is no distinction. Yeah. Yes. I believe that it will be for honors. At least that's something I forgot to mention to you. The TIP, which is our version of COP currently, is for the honors degree only, and students have to be full-time in the first instance when they apply. I say in the first instance because once you get in the internship, you will be necessarily part-time, because you cannot be in the internship as a full-time employee of some company and take courses during the day. So obviously you have to convert to part-time. But in the first instance, that is at the time of application for the TIP, you have to be honors degree student and full-time. Yes. The GPA requirement for the TIP is 6 in math and 6 in computer science minimum. So they don't look at your overall GPA, which could be less. They look at the GPA of these two subject areas. Sorry, what? Well, lab courses, are you referring to the requirements? The degree requirements? The degree requirements, I hope I didn't misunderstand you. They list the lab courses. They have to be biology, they have to be basic sciences. Biology, chemistry, and physics. And not any course whatsoever, some particular courses. What particular courses? Particular courses. I'll be with you momentarily. Current students, lose this, gain that. I think we're getting there. Take specialized honors, okay? We're losing audience. If you look at the asterisk, you can read the lab courses here. Yes. What is it that you cannot choose? Why you cannot choose it? Well, let's finish here and then come over here to discuss this, okay? Yes, I will stay behind for questions.